Well, this Fallout's going extremely well. Guys, what I'm about to play for you is one of the leading podcasts on the left, the Podcast Bros, the one that they have called Pod Save America. Well, it turns out that the fallout from the DNC, the Democrat leaders, the entire National Convention or committee that doesn't want to show you the entire autopsy report of the Biden failure, the Kamala Harris failure, the special interest failure, the policy failure, everything within the Democrat brand of the DNC, it turns out that the fallout isn't going as great as you'd think. Sure, let's talk about that whole war that's going on in the MAGA world, but let's completely ignore the whole Democrat implosion over this autopsy report. Watch this. You guys are going to love every second of it. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, and you can, of course, follow me on X at Braden LOA if you would like to join the conversation. There it is right there for you. All right, let's get right into this, guys, because as you can see, I am traveling, but that does not stop this freedom quest. Watch this. All right. So this is from the Pod Save America, okay? These a bunch of Libby lefts from the Obama administration. So just so you know who they are and their bona fides, I'm going to start playing this, and this is all about the DNC hiding and subtly concealing the autopsy report of why the Dems sucked in 2024 and got their crap kicked in. Yeah, watch this. They aren't handling it well. This is delicious.
We've talked before about the DNC's much anticipated 2024 postmortem, also known as an autopsy, unless you're talking to DNC Chair Ken Martin, who calls it a, quote, after-action report.
We're finishing our after-action review to really dig into this, to give people a sense who invested so much time, energy, and money, what happened and why we lost.
According to NBC News, Martin told reporters after he won the DNC election back in February that he would make the final report public. And he even criticized the party then for not releasing the 2016 postmortem. Well, on Thursday, the DNC announced that just kidding, they won't be releasing the report after all. Martin said, quote, "Here's our North Star. Does this help us win? If the answer is no, it's a distraction from the core mission."
Whew. The two reasons that the DNC is not...
All right, we're going to get to the two reasons the DNC is not showing this in a second, but I want to hit something really quickly. The guy literally came to power and said in 2016 the fault was not showing the autopsy of the failed election of Hillary Clinton. So then he turns around and does it again in 2024 of the failed Kamala Harris presidential election. Y'all, you cannot make this stuff up, but you have to understand something even broader that is going on. All the media push, all the manipulation, all the propaganda is trying to hide and obfuscate the idea that the DNC is not doing well. Okay, you got $15 million in debt just to float the payroll. Of that, only $3 million is left. They're going into an election in the midterms with no money, no donors, no vision, no unity, no policy agenda whatsoever. The opponents on the other side, the Republicans, have $91 million in liquid cash with no debt. The DNC chair just hid an autopsy report that is not going over very well with the population. More on this coming in a second. And then you also had vice chairs and Davey Hogg who were elected and then basically dethroned and kicked out. And then the other vice chair that stayed is calling the party voters assholes. Yo, things are not going well. But they want to talk to you about how evil and how bad and how MAGA and conservative and all the Republicans are doing. Have you looked over there? Okay, let's keep on going. There's stuff you guys have got to see in this clip. It's wild. We're so distracted. We do not cover this stuff.
Least in this report, one said, one unsaid, just are so emblematic of everything that is wrong with the Democratic establishment. The first is we don't want to mess with our momentum. Like, this has been a good year for Democrats. We won in blue states. We've lost by less in red states. Trump's not doing great. But the idea that these victories in an off year when we're supposed to do well suggests that we've solved our problems is just a repeat of the fatal error the Democratic Party made in 2022 when we took the results of a midterm that just happened to happen 3 months after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, did better in the Senate than we thought, but still lost the House and said, we're looking great for 2028. We're going to ask no hard questions about running an unpopular 80-year-old for re-election in this political environment. And then the second reason, which is the unsaid reason, I think, is the report was obviously going to piss some people off in the coalition. It was going to piss off some donors. It's going to piss off some of the groups. It was going to piss off members of Congress because any report worth its salt was going to look at how money was spent. It's going to look at our positions on issues. Almost certainly have to dig into the role that Biden's Gaza policy played in this election. And this is a huge problem within our party for a very long time now, which is an unwillingness to anger parts of our coalition or even have difficult conversations with them. We treat our allies as children, unable to have an adult conversation about where the party goes. And so we're so afraid of that we would rather shelve the report. When your entire being is to anger no one, offend no one, then you automatically have lowest common denominator strategic thinking. Like, you can't be good, you can't be sharp, you can't be incisive because you're just trying to do no harm. Like, you're not taking the fucking Hippocratic Oath, you're trying to win. The last point here, like, even if you look at all of our...
Okay, I'm going to give him the last point because, guys, you have to understand on a deeper level and a broader level what he is saying there. This is a Democrat. This is the Pod Save America bros. These are Obama-era guys, okay? You have to understand what is happening in this clip, and I'm going to do my damnedest to walk you through it. We're afraid to offend anybody. We're afraid to make anybody mad. We're afraid to have any hard conversations. Does that sound like, oh, I don't know, your entire policy agenda? This is not just Democratic establishment and Democratic insiders. This is the Democrat Party at large. This is the ethos. We can't offend anyone. Are you starting to see the fallout of 20 years of this? Because now the ingrained ethos of the entire party, the intelligence, the mindset, the brainwave. You can't offend anybody. If you offend someone, you're not caring for them. You're not meeting them where they are. You're not meeting the moment. You have to understand, this is not just a problem in the establishment. This has infected the entire party, all the coalition pieces, every single special interest, the woke ideologies, the transgenderism, the special interest of this group hates this group, so therefore we love this group. All of it. The nanny state emotional enabling that has been going on in the Democrat Party for the last 20 to 30 years is now become a standard operating status quo. So how can you release something like a autopsy report because you're going to offend somebody? That offends your main tenants. You can't have any type of policy agenda because you're worried about offending people. And what he said at the very end there, before we get to the final point, you end up with lowest common denominator strategic thinking, right? Because you can't have a objective conversation around anything that's actually happening, anything that can go forward for your party, go forward for the country, because you're too worried about making hard decisions that would offend somebody. You want a really good policy example? Come here, let's actually go big on this real quick, because this stuff is incredibly important. You can't close the border because that would offend all those who are looking for a better life. The immigrants, the people who are just looking for asylum, that wasn't abused. But you can't have a hard conversation. You want to look into the Somali fraud ring that's going up and down at $9 billion in Minnesota. You can't look at fraud and reports of fraud and red flags of fraud. That would be racist. That would be horrible. That would be some sort of phobe-ist. You can't have hard conversations. We're just going to lose $9 billion because it's not our money, and it's much easier than having a hard conversation. You see how this consistently reinforces? This is the point. This is the problem. Let's keep on going. I've got to show you something else, and then we are going to be off to the races.
Success in 2025. Do you know what the approval rating of the Democrats in Congress is right now in the most recent Quinnipiac poll? We're 55 points underwater. The Democratic Party brand, still worse than the Republican brand, on most issues, including some of the key issues of this election are going to be centered around. And it is very possible that we could change nothing, do the exact same thing, run the same playbook in 2026 and win a narrow House majority. Trump is that unpopular. The economy is that infuriating people that we could win. We should be thinking much bigger than that. We should be thinking about how to have a bigger majority. We should be thinking about how to win the Senate. And most importantly, we have to recognize that the demographics of this country are changing in a way that is going to make it impossible for the Democratic Party to win the Senate and win a presidential election unless we reshape our coalition. We become more popular with young people. We rebuild our coalition with Latinos. There's this short-termism that is, if we can just win this next election, then we can all pat ourselves in the back and be happy without thinking about how to actually think big and think long-term, then we are going to be doomed to fail here.
One of the reasons...
Okay, we're going to go big to wrap this thought real quick. Do you realize what he just said? He just said exactly what we've been saying, you and I, in multiple conversations. The demographics of the country are going to a way where we will guarantee to fail unless we change. Let me translate that out for you. The movement of people away from blue policies and blue states has led us to a position in the Electoral College where we're going to get our crap pushed in every 4 seconds. The House of Representatives demographics has changed so much because people have moved away from blue policies. We're going to get our crap pushed in every single time they try. Because that's what he just said. Doomed to failure. Y'all, it's not just us that knows it. They know it too. And that's why I bring you this stuff, because it is so important for you to see through the noise and of what's really going on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. Later.